Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the Bridal Experience series. I'm very excited today. We have with me some lovely brides. This is...
Hi everyone, my name is Zeph and I'm a 2022 bride.
Hello everyone, my name is Efe. I'm a 2022 bride as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Bookie and I'm a 2022 bride. So I love this 2022 bride. I got married in June 2022. You got married?
I got married October and in November.
And you got married?
April.
Okay, so you led the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seniors.
Yeah. Great. Well, I'm really excited for this series because I feel like a lot of people don't share their bridal journey experiences. I feel like a lot of brides get blindsided. So I just want to talk to you about like your experience, what you do differently, any things that stressed you out. You know, feel free to like rant a little if you want. So Zeph, I'll start with you and ask like, what is one word you would use to describe the journey from being engaged to actually getting married?
I'd say phenomenal. I don't want to use one word. I feel like it's very limiting.
Okay.
But I'll say it's like out of the world experience, but phenomenal is the main word.
That's amazing. That's really good because I was thinking about a lot of words, but not that word. That word didn't come to mind. Is it similar or different?
I think different. I think it was a very interesting journey. Extremely interesting. It was different. You know, as a girl, when you're like younger and you think about how a wedding experience should be, that was definitely not how I expected it to be. I mean, I mean, it was an amazing experience, and the fact is that the end goal is like you're spending the rest of your life with like your best friend and your partner. So the end goal justifies it, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about expectations. Like when you got engaged, or by the time you were getting engaged, did you already have in mind like how you thought it was going to be, like who your vendors were going to be, if it was all going to be like roses and sunshine?
Yeah, I'd say for me, so because I was in a couple of bridal trains, like I have like maybe like 4 or 5 of my friends who had gotten married. I essentially just saw that journey. Like I saw everything that they did, the makeup artists, who the vendors were for like bridesmaids dresses. So for me, it was just very easy to absorb that information. So when I got engaged, I felt like I already had a template by being there for my friends. So in one sense, that was very helpful. I didn't need to stress in terms of thinking, which vendor do I go to for this or who do I go to for that? And then my auntie, who's a phenomenal like events person, she's in that space as well. So we just like used her. So in that sense, it was helpful. I mean, like Efe said, it definitely has like its ups and downs, but we'll like go into that later.
Yeah. Okay. Efe, what were your expectations?
So very different from Zephyr because mine, I think I was one of like I was the first friend like my friend circle to actually get married. I had like a friend that had gotten married in 2018. Yeah. But I wasn't like part of like the experience. Like I was just like a bridesmaid, and I was even like a late bridesmaid that brought in like later. So it was just very, I mean, I feel like when you like, because the wedding business in Nigeria is like huge, and there's so many. You can go through Instagram, scroll through different pages, and you sort of have like an idea from Instagram. But the reality is, I mean, some are similar, some are different, but just the experience and the journey is just, it's very personal as well.
Did you reach out to people to talk, like what people are doing to you now? I know you had that. Had you reached out to anyone else that had gotten married to maybe ask them, is there anything that I should know? Or did you just go in?
I don't remember. I think I just went right into it. I had like I mentioned, like a friend that had, but she's not like, so I asked her a few things. But the thing about it is that with Nigeria, things just change so much.
Yeah.
So if somebody got married like 2 or 3 years before you, it's like their wedding is like
very
different. So it almost seems ancient. Like compared to like if somebody got married in 2022, because she got married pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic is a different ballgame entirely. But if you're getting married like post this, it's very different. So even if people would tell me about their experience, I had like a very different experience just going in there and getting married.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also very like personal. So it's like you might have like a friend who used a particular vendor for something, like maybe a makeup artist, but then for you may just not align with that particular person. Not because they're bad, but just maybe that vendor just wasn't for you, or they're not thinking in alignment with the things that you're trying to plan and how you want your wedding to be. So although they may be like a template, when it comes to you, you just need to figure out does this vendor actually work with like my vision, how I want my wedding to be? Do they align with even my personality type, the things that I want to do? Because I feel like with wedding planning, there's so much stress in itself. If you're not assertive to decide, oh, this is what I want, people will decide for you. And you just find yourself very like mute and you can't say anything. And because everything moves so quickly, you have to be very clear and very bold with people. So although I had friends who had done it, and there was even a particular makeup artist who had done a makeup I was on a train on, and every time we became friends, and every time I'll say, I'm like, you're doing, it was Auntie Bimpe, I was like, you're doing my makeup, or you're doing my, for years, and then would laugh about it, and then finally I just text, I was like, okay, you're doing my makeup, like it's time. And it was just, in that sense, it was easy because we became friends, but I feel like other vendors, there were certain people I didn't go to just because I felt like, okay, maybe this works for this person, it may not necessarily work for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
so your wedding was both in Nigeria and in Italy.
Yes.
Italy bride.
Yes.
And your wedding was in Nigeria.
Yes.
So did you do like your trad and whites close to each other?
It was, yes, about 5 days apart. Yeah, I did.
Okay, about a
Yeah, but it was in different states in Nigeria.
Okay,
So I did one because I'm from Benin. My family is Benin. My husband's family is in Benin as well.
Oh,
So we
nice.
did our wedding in Benin.
you trad.
And do our trad in Benin and wine in Lagos. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Do you
nice.
feel like yours was about a week as well?
Mine,
Couple.
so mine was, oh yeah, I see your points. Yeah, my trad was literally like 2 weeks apart from my white. So from the actually, what am I saying? No, it was like 2 days or so apart. So really from the trad, we then had to fly straight to Florence for the whites. So we went early to make sure that everything was fine, and then people came maybe like 3 days later. It was very intense. Yeah.
Do you feel like that was stressful? Would you do it again, or would you have more time? Because I had, December was my trad, and then waited 6 months. I wanted to prolong the process, but I also knew that I wanted a summer wedding, and I wanted a December trad because it was more convenient for people. But when you're thinking about like both sides, because we have 2 weddings, did you have like separate visions for it, or was it kind of like the wedding, like both of them that you thought about?
Yeah, so I feel like, it's always nice to give yourself time, because I feel like even just as like women, we really underestimate like the stress that comes on like the bride. So people just assume, oh, don't worry, you have this vendor that's taking care of it, or your family's helping you do it, or your friends are helping. But really, ultimately, it boils down to the bride. The bride is like making very like strong decisions. She's involved in everything. She's being pulled emotionally. So it really takes a toll on you. So I feel like to any bride, if you can give yourself time and space to do it. I didn't, because we got married that month in November. So it was already getting cold in Florence. And as God will have it, which is also like a bit of a testimony, we got to Florence and it was sunny. Like we got there like 1st of November, and it was like sunny. It was still cold, but it only got cold like at night, and it was just such a miracle. So we wanted to make sure that everything was accelerated. We didn't want it to go into the peak of winter. And even on the wedding day in itself, it was sunny and only got cold at night. So everything just kind of like worked out. But yeah, if you can give yourself time just to like feel more rested, definitely do it.
If you were traveling within Nigeria, so that's sort of 5 days as well. How was that process?
I think it was fine because we had family like coming from all the way from like London and Canada. We thought it was important to just make sure that they have like a reasonable time to be in Nigeria, so that it's not like we're making it so far apart and they can't attend. They have to pick one that they attend. So that was one of our things that we considered. But I thought it was, the only thing I would say is that I made my wedding on a weekday. I would never do that again. And I don't regret that, yes, because it was a weekday and it was we actually did that to reduce the number of people that came, which ended up being like it worked so well. But I mean, if I could go back, I probably would have made it on a Saturday.
Both weddings?
So the beginning one was on a Saturday, the latest one was
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So I want to go into some quick fire questions.
Go for it.
So just tell me like the first things that come into you. Don't think too deep. Like, as brides, always quite deep. Just tell me, anything that comes to mind. So, Zephia, what was your favorite part about your bridal experience?
I think it was definitely, I said styling myself. So I didn't get a stylist. If I were to go back again, I'm not sure that I would change anything. So I'm always someone like, I always know like what I want. I have a very strong sense of like my style, the things that I like. And also because of my personality type, I didn't want someone like directing me to something and like we sort of like clash. But there are amazing like stylists out there. Like, so if you're someone who doesn't have a sense of what you want, definitely go for it. But I found styling myself was really enjoyable to the point that, you know, even my best friends were saying, you know, Zeph, do you want to like start something or at least start showcasing? And I was like, no, I'm not an influencer. But I literally just had a very, very clear sense of this is the kind of colors that work for my skin tone. So I went fabric shopping with my auntie and we went to like Jola and Sons, and I got into it. Like we're doing like fabric swatches, put it on my skin, just things that I feel like with a stylist, I may not have been very flexible with. So I went my auntie who was very like patient with me. She understood my personality. We spent hours figuring out. And I also feel like I was able to make that decision based on things I had worn in the past and where I felt like I looked my best self. I literally that was like a benchmark for me. I was like, Zeph, when have you looked your best self? When is it that people tend to like compliment you when you go out? And I was like, oh, I noticed when I wear like olive, people really are like, wow, this looks really nice on you. So that was very, very convenient for me. And like, I went as far as creating like a mood board of all the different outfits. Yeah. I just went in and that for me was like really fun. And then like flying to the venue to like look at what I wanted, pick flowers, do this. I can be very like meticulous. So things like that just like give me like so much joy.
Yeah, but it's good because I think a lot of people, you either like know what you want or you like need help figuring it out, right? But what is one thing, one decision, one vendor that you would change in your wedding process?
My white wedding, the person that made my white wedding dress.
Oh no.
And it's so funny because
you looked amazing.
I literally like after the wedding, I think like 6 months, I actually healed from my white wedding dress.
Oh, no.
Like legit. Because I just felt that, you know what, and it's fun because initially I had like different like Nigerian peppers I wanted to use. Yeah. And for some reason my mom just thought about like this bright idea. She was like, oh my goodness, try turkey. Like and when I was planning my wedding, I told you it was just like a 4-month period. I started a new job in January of that year as well. So so I was like, you know what, I can't go to Turkey. I couldn't like travel. I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't take time off because I was already taking time off from work. So I picked this vendor. I saw this vendor on Instagram and I saw this beautiful wedding dress that I absolutely loved. And it's funny because the wedding planning is so interesting, especially with your outfits. The first thing that you pick, sometimes that's the one thing that I feel like you should stick with because there's a reason why you actually selected that item. And this was like different from what I initially, because I actually wanted to like look timeless. I did not want like too much shimmer.
Me too.
And my wedding dress had that, and the reason why at some point, like I remember it was like in February. My wedding was in April, and I was ready to change that vendor. I was like, you know, let me just call like a Nigerian designer or something, and I felt bad. I was like, this girl, I've already, because the payment kept on failing. I was trying to pay and all that. They kept on returning it and all of that, and I did not know that they were not their factory was not actually in Turkey. It was in Ukraine.
Oh my gosh!
So that whole process, and it's interesting because I feel like it's so important to like, because even with my trad outfits, I did like a lot of fitting. There were a lot of like alterations and adjustment, and I loved my trad looks. Like I love, like I got so many compliments for them. Like they were amazing. Like I looked. I look at my pictures. I'm like, oh, you look good. Yeah. But with my wife, I just did not feel like. I felt like I just did not get that experience. I felt that I could have done a lot more fitting. They were said if I had someone in Nigeria and they did something that I did not like, I could have told them, change this. I see, like I could have gone there, seen the fabric like myself. So that experience really just haunts me.
Oh,
but I'm not very loud though.
I mean, the good thing I feel like the silver lining is like you looked amazing. Like I think a lot of people always think
they don't look as nice, but you do to other people. Yeah,
that's the thing. My sister is when I'm complaining to her, she said, "She look at yourself. Like you look nice.
You look nice.
It wasn't as bad as I thought."
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Another question, Zeph.
Yeah.
I feel like you're probably very similar to me, like very, very on top of a lot of things, but obviously there would be something that stressed you out. So what's one thing that actually stressed you out?
I feel like I stressed myself out. That's the reality. I stressed myself out because I when I put so much pressure on myself into getting things done, I'm a perfectionist. I want things to be like a certain way. So for instance, for the trad, and I'm grateful to God, like I had a great team of like the vendors I worked with. So my auntie who is, and I should shout her out actually, Newton and David, she's the best. But she's literally like, let me just tell you, both of us are very similar. I feel like if she was a younger version of me, we will just be, So she, in the very beginning, she knows what she wants. She has a direction. I think her clients, because they trust her so much, they're just used to like, oh, it's fine. She has it under control. But for me, I just was like, this is my auntie. I would like say whatever. So I would literally come with ideas, or like I would say, no, auntie, like do this, do that. And she wasn't used to that at all. For her, it was just like, she just saw me as, this is her little niece. Why is she telling me what to do? Or why is she telling me? And I feel like we clashed in that regard. And that was like a huge eye-opener for me. And I mean, now we laugh about it and we're super close. I feel the experience made us close. She's like, wow, you really terrorized me. I'm like, you terrorized me. But I feel like with wedding planning, I definitely will not use, if you don't have to use like a family member, it's better not to, right? If you don't have to. Because I feel like when you then use like a stranger who has no emotional ties to your sentiments, for them it's just execution. It's like, I want to get it done. But I guess on the plus side is a family member is so emotionally invested, which is, it has its pros and its cons. Its pros is that they will make sure it is the best, which she absolutely did. But the cons is that everything is just so hypersensitive. So you can't really express the way that you want, especially if it's like an auntie. But it was such like a learning experience for the both of us. But I feel like it was just stressful to like navigate. But I wouldn't change anything. I'll go back because now we've like learned so much about one another. And like, I love her to bits.
Let's do some quick fire this or that. So flats or heels dancing in?
Heels.
Heels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heels. Okay. Event planner or no event planner?
Event planner.
No
What?
event planner. Interesting.
Coordinator, people.
Coordinator. Bridesmaids or no bridesmaids? If you do it again.
I feel like, and so I learned from this. So my sister-in-law, she didn't have bridesmaids, but I noticed on her wedding, she had friends that wore a similar color. And I was like, there's really no difference because the pressure you put on yourself to make your bridesmaids like happy. And it's not as if they're asking for it, it's just your personality type. So for me, I literally treated them as if they were brides. I think going back is not that serious. You could just have friends who love you, dance you in, and it's the same thing.
Definitely not.
Yeah, stressful.
I feel like there's no need to.
Okay, splurge on white wedding or trad wedding? Efe, let's start with you.
I think both.
I was gonna say.
Both? If you were to choose, or where you felt you probably spent more time and money and efforts?
I spent more time, money, and effort in my white wedding, but I enjoyed my trad way more. I feel like because my trad was in a different state and it was people that were there were people I knew very well. Like it was just very intimate. People just go along, people talked. It was I ate my white wedding. I did not eat anything, and I spent so much money on food. Trad, I ate like people. I don't know. I feel like.
I think a lot of people.
I think trad was just amazing for me. I loved it. I loved my outfits for trad. I loved like people that were there. It was just very. It wasn't intimate in the intimate sense, but it was like I had like people that were there. My friends that were there, they were like my really good friends. And just was amazing.
That's
like,
nice.
White where you have like after party and random people are coming and you don't even have people there, but trad was amazing.
Zeph, would you splurge on? Did you? I mean.
Honestly, I'd say both. I can't. I can't actually box it in. I'd say both because it's just so different. I feel like in your traditional wedding, just by context of our culture, everybody's coming, so you don't really have control. So I guess for my family, it was very critical. Like, this trad is huge. Like, we need to make sure that everything is to a T. Whereas for me, I wanted it to be more personal, so I had 200 people. And also because when you have a destination wedding, you don't really want to stress about beyond 200 people flying over, just the logistics. Are people safe? Are they okay? Are they it's too much pressure. But I feel in a sense we just, for both, we were like, okay, by God's grace, this is it. So just go in for both of them.
Oh, I love that. Okay. My final question is, during your entire process, do you feel like there was someone that managed you, that took care of you, that actually thought about what do you need the entire way
Process.
through, not just one specific thing. Because I always think a lot of people focus on the events, the day, but like who is actually managing the bride? Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you want to go first or should I?
Yes, for sure. My sister, she was honestly amazing. I don't think I would have done the whole process without her.
She's your twin sister?
Yeah, my twin sister. She literally stepped in. She stepped up for me. She would always talk to vendors. She was concerned about. So I was sharing my concern with someone as well. That really, because men don't understand certain things. So I go and tell my husband that something is not working. He's like, okay, like, but she really understood like certain things. She understood what it takes and what I needed. She helped me with a lot of things, my outfits. She helped me with my decor. She just helped with everything. She was talking to people on my behalf. She was talking to people. She was always calling and contacting people. She was just as interested as I was in making sure that my wedding was a success. Not just from, how parents, like, they want it to be amazing for, like, people to come on board. For my own self as well, just making sure that I had, like, my dream wedding. She was honestly, like, she would, anytime I had, like, breakdown, she would console me. She was even like, at some point my mom would tell her, why are you crying more than the bereaved? Like, why are you getting more upset than the person that is getting married? Like, she actually took my matter on her head. Like, she was honestly like, and it's so interesting that now that she's getting married as well, because she loves the whole wedding, she loves the whole planning and all of that. I can't even keep up with her because she will talk about my wedding that I'll be so tired of talking about my wedding. Like, I was like, Eddie, please, can I have a minute? Like, but no, she wasn't the best maid of honor, to be honest. Because she was so concerned in making sure that the wedding was perfect, that she was running around, making sure that people are fine. So honestly, like, I literally cannot thank her enough for just making sure that I was fine. She was fantastic.
That's so sweet, yeah.
So sweet.
Oh, yeah, it's your twin. I'd say for me, surprisingly, it was actually my husband. And you know what Effie just said about, like, sometimes men don't understand. I feel like my husband it's like something switched inside of him and he just had a different approach to this wedding. He literally, like, puts himself in my shoes at every step of the way. To the point that initially I was like, you're stealing my wedding, stop trying to control everything. But when I look back at it, because he knows my personality type so fully, he was able to help me where there were gaps. So he would literally see me so, like, burnt out or overthinking something, and he'd literally take time to be like, okay, babe, let's sit down, let's mark this out. Even little things like my dress, he'd be like, they say don't tell them about your dress, but I would just give, like, a vague idea, like, oh, I don't know, my spread is not aligned with this banner. He would just help me think through the process. Or, like, if, let's say, I would be trying to decide, do we get, like, 2 cakes, or he will literally then walk me through the process of, okay, what is the essence of these 2 cakes? Is it, to prove something to people, or is it because it's actually meaningful? And, like, just helping me to, like, strip down things in a way that just, like, made more sense realistically, because I feel I get very excited and very passionate. So with things like this, I just want to, like, think big and think grand. But I feel like with him, he was able to help me just, like, streamline. And it's just even, like, change perspective about, like, the way I would do certain things. He was very helpful, super encouraging. And 2 of my other very good friends, surprisingly, one who doesn't live here, her name is Keith. So we met in uni, and she came to visit me in Nigeria when I moved back, and then she always said, look, the next time I'm going to come to your country, she's half Jamaican, half English. She was like, I'm going to fly for your wedding. And so obviously when I got engaged, she was like, Zeph, I'm coming. And she literally kept that commitment and flew. And I think what actually surprised me the most about this is that I feel when you have, like, a foreign friend who comes around, you feel like you need to be the person that's taking care of them, or get your, like, Nigerian friend. She just stepped into the role as if she was, like, a Nigerian person. I kid you not. When I reflect and look at my pictures, my videos, she's literally the friend the most beside me, holding me, like, literally, like, holding my dress at the back and just stepping up, and even just doing things like, she came maybe like a week before the wedding of my traditional and just stayed with me, like, oh, Zeph, okay, today you have the hair appointment. I remember one time she saw me so stressed, she took my laptop and started typing for me. Okay, what does this mean? How do I? And I just, like, in fact, thinking about it, I'm getting a bit emotional because I'm like, you're not even, like, a Nigerian friend, and you did this. So I feel sometimes, like, God will use people you least expect to, like, show you the magnitude of love. She just knew how to handle me, how to handle my mindset. Even just little things like, oh, I noticed you've not eaten. She had this thing you said about brides that you don't eat. It's so horrible. I tried. I think I had puff puff alone, and there was so much food. I'm telling you, I did not eat anything, and it was so horrible because you're so overwhelmed with taking pictures, talking to family members, etc. She carried food for me up to the hotel room to make sure, Zeph, you needed to eat. So she's someone I would really applaud. And then another friend who's like, I call her like my big sister, Tokes. She just called me one day. She was like, Zeph, I feel you're so overwhelmed. I'm coming to come and meet you now. And she came with like a pen and a notepad. And it just made me so emotional. I was like, oh my God, this is the kind of thing I would do. And sometimes you feel so alone in the process. Like you don't want to pressure too many friends or pressure family members. But I feel like them in particular is like, they didn't really ask, they just did and just executed. And for that, like, I'm eternally grateful. And for my husband who just, he just took on like, okay, Zeph is a diva, but it's fine. I'm gonna like work with this and I'm going to like, so yeah, I'm so grateful for those guys.
I'm so happy that you guys had like your rocks. Because when I think about like what I'm trying to do with ATF, I really do see myself in that role of like the bridal manager, managing the bride. Like people are managing the event, the planners manage the events, your parents are managing their friends, your stylist is managing your outfit, but like who is looking after the bride the entire 100%. Time, making sure you're not stressed, you're not breaking down, communicating with even your bridesmaids to let them know what your expectations are, because I think a lot of people don't feel that they can maybe tell people what to do, or even struggle with, I know I struggle with asking for help.
Yeah, same.
My maid of honor, she held me down. Even when I couldn't ask for help, she would like guess it out.
Yeah.
I definitely think that that's something I think I've become passionate about the experience. So I want to help more people, more brides, just have the wedding of their dreams, like you said. I feel like it's just such a fantastic, when you think about it, like I'm so grateful I had this person because they really made things, and it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. So thank you both so much.
Thank you, Bookie. This was so fun. Absolutely. Yeah, it's like taking me back to like the whole wedding process. I miss it. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.